Hi, good morning. So this is August 3rd, and I guess welcome to the third day of my vlog. There's a man riding a quad, I guess we could call that. It's not a scooter, it's electric, so we can call it an electric quad. Quad means four. And I've also heard the term for five used, was something, anyway, I can't remember. So this one is to my sincere friends at Course in Miracles and Course in Miracles groups. So I've been kicked out of a lot of Course in Miracles groups because they say that I am a walking, raging ego. My son points that out as well. I apologize that I come across that way. That's all I can do. I can't not be an ego in a world where everything is literally driven by ego. Even Art and Persa, when they visited Gary, and please understand they did visit Gary. And Gary, you can definitely be assured of your own sanity. You're okay. So we wait for our pills to take effect. And these are my pills. And it says, it's very important here, it says take 2 tablets daily. So the telephone has the option, it has that on my phone it has that swirly thing like that. So it's going to let you flip the phone around if you push it while you're talking. Now, so my wife had a Samsung phone, one of the better ones. It's now 3 years old already, but it was one of the better ones 3 years old, 3 years ago. Not the top one because it didn't have as much memory space, and the chip wasn't as good. So it was a downgrade from that, the 842 I think, or something like that. Anyway, her phone does it, and then we bought her the iPro Max 15 Super Pro Max, or whatever you want to call it. That top one, except the memory was a little less, but the chip and everything was top, and it wouldn't let us flip the phone around. So I see a lot of comparisons about telephones on the internet, and they talk a lot about, you know, picture quality and this and this. But honestly, right now, all I want to do is show you, take 2 tablets a day. And to do that, in the same video, I need to push the button that says flip the phone around. Flip the view around. And I can do that with a screen recording app, which is what I'm doing here. So, take 2 tablets daily, okay? So, we wait for our pills to take effect. And this is from Dr. Neelakant. Neelakant, I can't. My name is Neelakant. I try, but I can't. Harish Neelakant. Hari Neelakant. And this is July 4th, 2024. And it was in Vancouver, British Columbia. No, I'm not in Vancouver, British Columbia. Oh, heavens forbid. No. On the day he gave me these pills, he also put me onto an airplane and sent me to Toronto. And then he wouldn't let me challenge his prescription at all. I mean, does that look like healthy stuff? It's green, but it's got an orange tinge to it. So, we're waiting for the pills to take effect. And while we wait for the pills to take effect, we have to wonder where it was that smoking even came from. And I thought, well, if the body's not real, and is all a perception-based illusion, there's also not a man walking beside me. And those 2 people to the car there, they're not real too, right? So we can sit at home and we can say, I need do nothing. And truly, you need do nothing. In this world, truly, you need do nothing. Because this world is not real and everything inside it is not real. I mean, how could it be? It's always changing all the time. Any fool can recognize that. And then the smart fools with the microscopes can recognize that even better, right? So I have a bunch of things on my agenda when I get up in the morning. Things I'm groaning about, like, oh, I gotta check my email because I noticed there was messages in there the other day. Well, most of the messages are spam anyway, but then there's this one message, and I gotta hand it to the guy. And I'm gonna mention him in this video because I appreciate him. I want to say his name was Leffy, but his name was not Leffy. Although Leffy's a nice name, that's from a movie that I've watched recently. His name was Leslie, and it was spelled with a Y though, and I'm pretty sure it was a guy. You know, I remember hearing a guy's voice when I was reading the text, but I never actually asked if he was a guy or girl. Anyway, so if I show my palm, it automatically takes a picture, apparently. So, Leslie, L-E-S-L-Y, at Quest Trade. He kept spewing this stuff about, unfortunately, we can't accept your documents to open a new account. Unfortunately. And I just got really tired of reading the word unfortunately. It wasn't even like, if you're making an effort to communicate with me, at least stop bouncing messages back to me. Like, show me that you've turned around and talked to your boss about some of this stuff. And he never did. He pretended to be the boss. It goes like that at many organizations. And then I said, buddy, like, if you can't talk to me, then just pass me on to somebody else. And then Nathan sent me an email this morning, and Nathan sends me the same regurgitated garbage as the other guy. So now I've already told the other guy in a very clearly stated email that I want my money withdrawn back into my banking account. Like, I mean, I'm clearly not going to use this trading brokerage. Not that I even really want the stress of trading stocks. And however, I think I did need to make this connection for this reason, that I can demonstrate this nonsense to you, because this is really over-the-top security nonsense is what this is. So I'm going to start a new blog or line. We'll call it a line, because there's no other word for it. Oh, get this. So it just patterns it for me. And then I see the picture of how a domain name will be, and then from that I logic it backwards. So this argument that I'm going to have with the brokerage now is going to be called q.line.2dream.ca. And now that's not for any of you guys to remember any of this stuff. No, that's just for me. So when I'm typing, though, I can type it easily. And if I ever need to reference any of their garbage, I will forever have a handy reference that I can use my whole life going forward. So forget about the idea of just trying to remember a password from 10 years ago. I now have a way of being able to actively recall legal documents from 10 years ago by standing up in a courtroom without pulling anything out of my pocket. Do you guys understand what kind of a leap in memory ability that is? From like one intelligence to the next intelligence. I mean, this is... We, the readers of A Course in Miracles, are not comparable to the intellects of the individuals who believe in inferior and subspecies, because we recognize we share one mind. And in so doing, we allow ourselves an unusual amount of leeway in the laws on planet Earth in order to correct the deficiencies, was the word that I heard from my environment this morning. In our environment. Deficiencies is what they are. So we're here to help. and we're the honest. That's who we are. And we read A Course in Miracles, acim.2dream.ca. The copyright was removed. It's a free book. There are many versions. I'm just making sure I'm pointing you guys in the direction of the official one. Okay, the official one is by that foundation that started this whole mess back in the 60s and 70s. Or the foundation, I guess, came after the book was kind of already on the way. But they're part of us. So, and they will forever be probably the truest part of us, because they're managing a copyrightless book, whereas everybody else is trying to take the copyright on something personal. So just so that you understand where their level of faith is. Now, I personally, on the ego scale, have beef with anybody who mixes money with spiritual intention. So the idea of asking for donations is a little bit the reply is they have to appear normal. Yeah, they have to appear normal. So if it's bothering you at all that the acim.org organization is asking for donations, even though they've already lost the copyright of their book, they're not asking for donations because they've lost the copyright of their book. In many respects, they should be much happier that they've lost it, because there's no truer trust and faith. And we will be working together to build a university, and it will graduate official teachers of the book, A Course in Miracles. And the university is most likely going to be in its own country, which is not too big. I thought I could get it from land currently in Canada. And there's a real way to do that, actually, because the President of Canada is actually called the Governor General, not the Prime Minister. And the Governor General has the right to sign that land off on people. And he, I don't even know why I'm recording it this way. So to get up to the Governor General, I have described the real world plan of how to do that in vlog. And so you'll see vlog written underneath here. Actually, no, that video is, that's been now changed to link to specifically a folder containing the name Megan Sherwood, Dr. Megan Sherwood. So there might be 2 psychiatrists arrested. I thought it would be the 2 that started the story in 2012. It seems actually it's going to be more than likely the pair that's in Vancouver right now. And they really blundered about a month ago. They had me forcibly medicated after I walked to the hospital to request assistance from 2 corrupt police officers. Yeah, and they never verified whether or not I was actually telling the truth, or if I was delusional. They just accused me of delusion. Yeah, it was the 26th of June, 2024, Vancouver General Hospital. And so, and this guy, July 4th, when I told him that I wanted to challenge the right of the injection, this guy flew me out to Toronto. The legal way to do that, I suggested to him, was to use Mental Health Act Section 42, which allows inter-province transfer of involuntary psychiatric patients. I mean, they had taken away my rights to refuse everything again, and just, well, on the 2nd of July, they literally put me on the floor and told me to stay there. And then I find him on the 3rd of July. They knocked me out for almost a whole day. The medication did, yeah. Yeah, slept for almost 24 hours. Woke up 2 times in between just to wet my mouth, and that was it, and then right back out again. Horribly thirsty, and then knocked me out. So then on the 3rd of July, I find that doctor standing over top of me. And it's like a jail cell inside the hospital in a ward there. It's got the same toilets as the jails do at Central North Correctional Facility in Ontario, because I've been locked up there also, on the same grounds. Yeah, apparently the psychiatrists have a lot of authority in Canada. They can decide if you're guilty without you even going to court, and they can also actively stop judges from allowing a defendant to have a bail hearing, which is supposed to be obligatory every 90 days. And in my case, it was stopped for over a year. Over a year solid by a constant Form 1 that the psychiatrist, or Form 72, or 72-hour hold that the psychiatrist attached to my paperwork whenever I was going to court. And so the judge could never release me from custody. And the judge didn't want me to go to the hospital, because there I'd be out of the criminal system, and I wouldn't be able to get back, actually. So the judge actually helped me. In that case, the judge helped me. Yeah. So after the psychiatrist took away my right to have a bail hearing, the judges helped me by keeping me in court, because the law said I should have been released to the psychiatrist at that point. If I don't have a bail hearing, I have to be released. But if I'm released from the court with a 72-hour hold paper on me, then I get transported, which ended up happening when the trial was done. The handcuffs didn't come off. So I said I'm free to go, and instead I got transported to a waiting ambulance and handcuffed to the bed at Royal Victoria Regional Healthcare Center in Barrie on the 1st of July 2014, after 16 months of solid incarceration under psychiatric observation. Then I went back and I argued with him again. And then I had him to the point where on the 3rd of July 2015, we had a hearing about my right to audio record during the psychiatric session, so that I could begin to maintain a consistent record, because they were taking my statements completely out of context and intentionally. And well, you know, this stuff is important to put out there too, so I guess this is part of the vlog. This is vlog number 28. And I knew that when I started this. But I do want to take a break, and I don't know how to pause this recording with the screen grabber on right now. Would you mind if I just take a break? And it was just very short, just, you know, wet my, it's a dry mouth. So I'm going to let you, well, the sun is here, so I'm going to put you in the shade beside me. You can look at the sky. How's that?
Holy fuck!
Hey guys,
How's it going, boss? Having a good day or what?
I'm having a great day every day.
Fuck yeah! I love it. I love it.
I got a couple witnesses.
Sorry about that. Consequences, you know. However, I am assured that the reparation ability of the body compensates adequately always, and with perfect timing. So, you know what I was thinking about while I was usually what coincides with the same physical action are visions, other messages, things like that. No. Cool inspirations, learnings. Oh, for example, this morning when I started this whole process, I wondered how smoking even began. And I thought, the Indians... Okay, there's a really interesting reference in the book John Penal, Children of the Law of One, The Lost Teachings of Atlantis, about the Hopi Indians having a story where the world opened up and a man with a bird's head appeared and told them to come into the earth to hide from the winter that would not end. And that was about 10,000 years ago. And I thought, well, that was interesting. That's an interesting coincidental kind of appearance there to some other events that really have not been talked about in mainstream society. And that's the building of the pyramids. Oh, and I think I finally have that date remembered. So Edgar Cayce in one of his readings said that the exact date of building of the Great Pyramid, the big one. And I still don't know if I have the date right. I finally got the last three numbers right, but I'm not for sure about the fourth digit. Okay, oh, that's what it was. That's why I get confused. Okay, so I'm getting confused because Edgar Cayce, that smart guy, hey? He referenced it from BC, which is actually the only kind of fixed time that we have in our spectrum of time, because even now the numbers still keep changing. So you can't reference something on a changing system. So you needed to reference it from BC. It's an oxymoron, you see. You can't reference something as being before Christ, because Christ is ongoing. And so Edgar Cayce used to call little baby Jesus, our idea of Jesus, as the Prince of Peace. So Edgar Cayce would compromise in his own psyche to say, as long as I say Prince of Peace, they're gonna know that I'm talking about Jesus, and not the eternal one, but the body. And then if I just say, before the Prince of Peace, then they're gonna know that it's before Christ. This is how analytically correct Edgar Cayce's mind was in the subconscious, because he was really duking it out with himself about being both God and the devil together. Like he was like, I'm a holy man, I read the Bible every year I read the Bible, I'm a holy man in the flesh. And then at night when he opened his mouth, whoo, the things he said, wow. I mean, they had medical science upside down. So medical science has pretty much erased his name from their record book. And my wife in Taiwan has already translated Thomas Suguru's There Is a River, which is Edgar Cayce's biography, into Chinese well, sort of. We got a little bit of work left to do on that one. I'm fixing it a bit. You know, Stu did a really, really good job. And the story is good enough to really be of interest and not long-winded. And really just get at the crux. And it just takes a few simple trigger sentences. And so when Lindsay started translating the stuff that I already did, Lindsay said, wow, this is a really good story. I was like, yeah, I added a few parts. Is it okay? So we, you know, but we're allowed to do that, right? So, I mean, it got Lindsay on board with the project, so it worked that way. We got a lot of work to do. I mean, there's no doubt about that. But there was a part in that current story there where they just there's a whole chapter. So Edgar Casey was a guy he would talk when he was sleeping, and it would be the voice of A Course in Miracles directly talking through him, with one hiccup. It had a chastity belt, and Edgar Casey was holding the key. Yeah, it had a multi-dimensional chastity belt. And that was Edgar Casey's assurance that we're separate but we're together. So, he is a living example of a man with the extreme case of mental illness. That is Edgar Casey. He didn't come to show us that. That is... wow, that is the effect of having logically worked his mind to a near perfect conclusion and then not having been willing to take that last final step to say, oh my God, I have an eternal mind. He wasn't willing to say that. So there's a lot of confused people about Edgar Casey, and that's okay. But that being said, a lot of good stuff out there. And I did find out what blueberries were for, by the way, and I did make sure that the doctor did write this down in her report, so it's verified. That I have already said it, I'm not just making this up. But I mean, it really happened. So I lost a little bit of hope there in Taiwan for a while. So I decided to stop eating, imagine that. Because I knew that I couldn't kill myself by force. I knew that wasn't, and then so I realized that my last remaining choice was just not eating. So I stopped eating, and I had only water. Now, Lindsay will correct me and say, I had coffee, or Sanjay will correct me and say, I had coffee. I did have a couple cups of coffee there in the second week. Second or third week maybe. The beginning to the end of the third week.